Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter not just when it comes to public police brutality or watching birds in a park or my constant shopping in a department store and being monitored by the security. Black Lives Matter in the workplace too. And most companies and organizations have acknowledged this fact in recent weeks. But truth be told, it's not enough. Just acknowledging the fact is simply status quo. Now, this isn't to say that white lives or the lives of other diverse groups aren't important. It's to say that your Black employees in particular, in today's current climate, are raising their hands and saying, I need your support as an organization. I need to know that I belong here as a person of color in your organization. I need to know that leaders and managers in my company or organization have my back. Have my back by making sure that I have a voice in the organization and then listening. Having my back by ensuring that the color of my skin doesn't hold me back from career progression. Having my back by implementing policies and programs that ensure that I am able to succeed the same as my white colleagues and colleagues of other diverse backgrounds. Ensuring that the organization has a culture in which everybody acknowledges and understands that there is a policy of zero tolerance when it comes to racism. That's what Black employees are looking for right now. So it's my belief that for leaders and managers in an organization to truly show up, they have to be willing to speak up. And speaking up means engaging in crucial conversations, a skill that successful managers are able to master. Crucial conversations, we know, aren't easy, and sometimes they're uncomfortable. Many managers and leaders in this environment are saying they don't know what to say or how to say it. And so the letter or the acknowledgement that's come out from leadership, that's safe. It's easy. Let me put in writing how we feel or what we think. And let our Black employees and employees in general know that we're going to give some money to some Black organizations. Well, yes, this is good, but it is scratching the surface. Your employees, Black employees and employees of all races and backgrounds are watching you. They want to know, they want to see what action you're going to take. They don't just want words, they want action. What are you going to do as an organization in particular to help support and eradicate a problem that has been around for centuries? What is it that we're going to do to support our Black employees? And if you're not able to demonstrate that you intend to take action and what those steps are going to look like, you risk losing excellent talent. And not just Black employees, employees of all colors and backgrounds, especially young employees who value social responsibility and feel like you as an organization have an obligation to support everybody in that organization. And right now, Black employees in particular. So again, what's next? What action are you going to take? Let me share with you a couple of recent stories. One is a prospective coaching client I had a call with last Friday. She got on the call. I said, how's your week going? How are you doing? It was Friday. She said, okay. Well, I could sense that okay meant I'm not okay. And so I took the liberty of asking her if she wanted to, talk about her week a little bit or share anything with me. And she took me up on the offer and said, yeah, sure. I said, well, what's going on? I said, we can talk about next steps in working together. We can talk about that later. And she said, I'm just really upset. It's been a rough week. I haven't been able to focus and work because of all of this unrest and the protest and what's happened. And she said, I'm trying to figure out what to do to support causes in my personally and then professionally. And then she said, but I'm really upset with my company organization because they haven't said anything to me. Well, then she clarified, because it is a big organization, so I was surprised to hear they hadn't said anything. Very large organization, so they had done something. HR had sent down a communication that went throughout the company in terms of acknowledging what was going on, acknowledging that they were going to be giving some money to some organizations to support eradicating racism. And they were calling on their employee resource groups to come up with ideas and programs that could help move the cause forward. What she was talking about is that her direct chain of command hadn't said anything to her. They hadn't expressed any concern, asked her how she was doing, or communicated anything to their team in particular about the recent unrest, about the rioting, about the loss of life. That hurt her. She was even thinking about taking paid time off, PTO, because she couldn't work and focus. And she thought, what am I supposed to do? So you see, as a leader or a manager in your organization, you could potentially lose talent as a result of not communicating, of not showing empathy. And this is above and beyond a formal letter. This is saying, hey, I'm opening my office up if you want to have a conversation. My office is a safe space to talk about what's been going on. So a couple of weeks ago, I created a poll on social media, LinkedIn and Facebook. And the poll question was, do you think leaders and managers in an organization should take the initiative to have conversations with employees surrounding the recent Amy Cooper and George Floyd incidents? Yes or no? An overwhelming 80% said yes. Yes, leaders and managers should have conversations. And I agree. Saying nothing is risky. As I like to say, something is better than no thing. Now, again, you don't want your leaders and managers stepping into landmines. And interestingly enough, the 20% who said no, and even some of the individuals that said yes to the poll had a caveat. And it was similar. They said, the reason I say no is because many leaders and managers aren't equipped to have the conversation effectively. They don't know how to have a crucial conversation. And they don't necessarily know how to deal with the emotion that could be involved or how to react in the instance that, what you get back is not what you're expecting. That's all fair. So I think there's a happy medium, though, in terms of communicating. And I want to share a few thoughts here now. As I mentioned, simply letting your Black employees know that you're open to having a conversation if they would like to, that your door is open and it's a safe space is a start. And then I'd like to encourage you to listen more than you talk. In fact, when you do talk, my suggestion would be to ask powerful questions, not necessarily sharing your opinion and your perspective, but simply asking your Black employees in particular questions about how they are feeling, their perspectives. Have they experienced racism in your organization? Asking them to share their stories of what they've experienced and been through, getting their suggestions and ideas, just simply asking questions than pausing and listening, like truly listening. Which brings me to another point. Very often, people think that communication simply means talking. Meanwhile, a critical element of communication is listening. It's a skill that so many people lack. Listening involves active listening, really paying attention to every word that the person is saying, truly processing it, not trying to respond or answer or react to what that person is saying. So you see, just by listening, you're communicating with your employee. The other thing about communication is that body language is a way to communicate without saying a single word. So showing empathy through your body language is one way to communicate that you care about that employee, that you have concern of what they're dealing with or going through or what they're thinking, simply through body language. Direct eye contact, nodding your head, saying yes or I see, acknowledging that or giving them the sense and acknowledging that you really are listening. Now here's the thing. Once you open up the dialogue and you ask a question, you have to be ready for what may come at you from that employee. You may not like what you hear. They may say they have felt discriminated in your company or organization or even by you. Or maybe they've felt uncomfortable or unappreciated or like they don't belong in the organization. You've got to be ready for that input. And you have to not react negatively. Also, you got to believe them. Don't discount what they say. I'm amazed over the years how I shared with white friends experiences of racism and discrimination, and they said, "Oh, Annette, no." I said, "Yes." I let it go. They just didn't believe in this day and time I could still be discriminated or that racism still exists. So people don't make up, typically, that they've been discriminated against or they feel racism. You know, most black people aren't out to do that. Sure, there's some outliers, but in general, believe them if they say it. Just because you can't appreciate it, just because you haven't seen it or felt it, doesn't mean it didn't happen. So be ready for their response and believe them. Okay, so those are just a few thoughts on how you can go above and beyond that formal acknowledgement and have a level of communication with Black employees. Be sure to let them know you don't have all the information, but you're doing your homework. You're trying to understand the history. You are working to understand resources that can support your employees and the organization as a whole. That you're trying to figure out a plan, a roadmap for the organization so that you support Black employees in particular. Making sure that they understand that yes, there's diversity and inclusion, but we're specifically taking a look at you as a Black employee, your needs, the specific biases that you face, and what we can do to minimize or remove that from this work environment. So I hope that helps you today. If you haven't said anything to your employees and you're watching this video, please, please say something. Say something to them. Let them know that you care. Let them know that you appreciate them. And let them know that you're there for them if they want to talk. Thanks so much for listening. Let's hope the world becomes a better place as a result of the recent incidents. Let's hope that we all learn, including me, because we all have biases. Let's learn, and then let's move on. Thanks so much for listening, and make it a great day.